Welcome to the pizza party. My name is Troy from troysweb.com. Visit my website for links to all of my YouTube channels. There isn't content on all channels at this time, but subscribe to everything because I'm trying to appease the YouTube algorithm by dividing my life into categories and genres and niches and buckets. And yeah, you got to do what they tell you to do, right? So here is a smoked pizza. And what does that mean? Well, it means I smoked the meat, I smoked the cheese, I smoked the tomatoes, I smoked the crust, um, and it was really really good pizza. If you notice, this is all the same pizza, but if you notice in the upper left hand corner, I mean the pizza looks fantastic right there. If I had just stopped there, right, I have a tendency to overload my pizzas, and that thing is already overloaded, but it's not overcooked yet. And then I added the pepperoni in order to try to get that pepperoni to cup and look good and be hot. It looks like I burnt the pizza, and it did burn the corner edges, but that just crumbled right off. And the bottom of this pizza is perfectly fine, and you'll see that throughout the rest of the video. You may have seen in a recent video that I roast my own garden tomatoes. In this case, I did it on a wire rack. I've learned my lesson. I put down the tin foil so I don't have to wash the pan so vigorously. And then I have the wire rack in there so that the liquid would drain out. But in later videos, you'll see that I don't use the wire rack anymore because it doesn't need it. The liquid will drain out of the tomatoes on its own. And I went ahead and you can see here are the tomatoes after they've been roasted. What I did then was these skins are all loose and separated from the tomato pulp. So I grabbed my tongs and I just started going pinch, 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 pinch. And I pulled the peels off all the tomatoes, which you can see in a pile on the right hand side in the trash bag. And then there's my tongs, and then here's my tomatoes. So what I did with the tomatoes, I threw them back in the oven, and they got nice and charred. They dried quite a bit. So I'm going to end up with a more, what's it called, concentrated tomato sauce flavor than the juiciness of this. If I had stopped here, that would be a very juicy tomato sauce, kind of like just crushed tomatoes in a can. But mine have seeds. There are varieties of tomatoes that have fewer seeds in them that sometimes are used. So anyway, I took this after I took my whole tomatoes or my half tomatoes cut side down, and I roasted them. I peeled them. I threw them back in the oven to char. Then I took this rack and I threw it on the smoker. Now, I also took this crust and I threw it on the smoker. I covered it with some cheese and threw it on the smoker. Well, the smoker is a little warm, and even though I'm cold smoking, right, I have a stainless steel tube. You fill it up with wood pellets or wood chips, then you set that on fire, and you can see that it creates some good smoke. And you close the lid on the grill. There's that whole grill chamber is just smoking like crazy. And I didn't take a picture of the crust and the tomatoes, and then I was just busy. I was doing it. So I threw in the crust. I threw in the cheese. Then I threw on the cheese. Then I threw in the cheese, or threw the cheese in the smoker. Then I had my tomatoes charred and smoked. Then I had already previously smoked all this meat on the right hand side of the screen, the sausage links, Italian sausage, and vegetables. If you notice, they have a little bit of odd looking dehydration to them. They don't look like fresh cut vegetables, but they are fresh cut vegetables that sat in the smoker for an hour or two with a cold smoke tube drying out the environment around them, leaving some smoky flavor behind. And then you notice on the left, I've got my smoked tomatoes already on the smoked pizza crust with the layer of provolone, smoked cheese, and then the smoked tomato sauce. And then I threw on some leftover breakfast sausage seasoned with Italian seasonings because it's all I had. And then I threw on some leftover mushrooms. You'll notice there's some mushrooms on the right side on that rack also. Everything's smoked, dude. It was awesome. And then I grated a bunch of whole mozzarella cheese. I'm getting away from using the Ziploc bags that have that anti-caking powder. on every sliver of cheese in the bag. This is the 1 pound whole milk mozzarella. It melts really nicely, and I covered the pizza with that, threw it in the oven, and wow. If I had quit here, I'd have been a happy camper, but I can never quit. I just keep overloading the pizza. Put on the pepperoni, throw it back in the oven. It looks like it's a little burnt, but really it's not. I'm hoping that I took, nope, I didn't get a bottom shot, but the bottom of the crust was perfectly fine. You can see the bottom piece here. I'm still working on it, man. But I always forget to take a picture at the very end. It comes out of the oven. I set it on the stove on a cooling rack, and sometimes I cut it up and then I grab a slice and I go eat it, and I don't record the results in real time. Then I come back and I put things on paper plates, stuff them into a Ziploc bag, put them in the fridge, have leftover pizza all week. So that's this pizza. It was really good. It was really smoky, and I encourage you to do it yourself. Fool around and find out. Do something even if it's wrong. You're going to learn from the experience, and I am still learning. Obviously, probably 20 pizzas later, and I'm finally getting to the point where I'm about to make my own dough. I'm going to buy a couple more of those frozen dough balls that just get thawed out, and then you pull them out of the fridge, leave them on the counter, they rise, you push them down, they rise again. The company in my area is called It'll Be Pizza. IT''LL. It will be pizza. It'll be pizza. You might find a product called Pizza Boy in your frozen section of, you can buy a frozen pizza dough ball, or it might be in the bakery area, in a refrigerated section of the bakery area, like they put their cream pies in there, or other things. They're right next to the deli, refrigerated cases. You might be able to find a Pizza Boy dough ball in your area, but they don't have those here. There are others that I found, but I can't remember the names offhand. But yeah, got a couple of pizzas under my belt already with the pre-made frozen dough ball that you thaw and let it rise and then squish it out. So stick around. There's a lot more coming. I'm just making videos now for pizza pictures that I took over the last 2 years. And so we're finally about up to August of 2025, and right now it's almost December of 2025. So 3 or 4 months before or until I run out of pictures to make videos with. Hopefully you will subscribe, like, share, comment on this video. And really, subscriptions and likes mean a lot. If you'd like to visit my website and sign up for my other sites, that would be awesome. And until the next time, hope you will enjoy the rest of my videos that are already on YouTube. Look at my video history. I've done a ton of stuff already. Check it out. Keep coming back.